little bit too late for again another perfectly placed ball under that crossbar.
Oh no, Baylor, not like this. 2 goals, lightning quick for Ball State. And suddenly we're talking about a whole different game state. Andy trying to take it back. That will draw 2 players. JT over the top. Hoxer should have the shot, but he can't reach it. JT rescuing it. It's backflipping. It's spawning all over for Baylor, but they can't get behind the shot.
Again, such heartbreak. They can't find it when it matters most. JT finds the save here. This one taken by JT off the ceiling. Andy's there. Hoxer is looking for the demo upfield. This one here. Wova still finds the save. Shot from JT. Still persistent. And this one cleared away. Maybe one last opportunity for Baylor if they can cross the field. Andy does have boost to work with. Takes it in the air dribble. Still tries to bump. Hoxer tries to keep it up. Doesn't have the boost to follow with it. And Ball State in the last minute of gameplay, 2 back-to-back to win the series.
And being able to close that one out, excellently done by Ball State, but you know, Baylor, it's so tough. I see the avenues they're going down, but it just doesn't work out. Ball State, they're too crafty, excellent solo play, but man, what a backbreaker of a goal to be able to have Baylor come in, looking fine, get scored on, then off the kickoff, just the lightest little floater to be able to decide the series.
You know, it's funny, looking at the player cams, Ball State doesn't necessarily look happy with themselves. I think they wanted that to be a little bit easier. They didn't want it to be so scary, you know, at the end of that one that they barely had to claw their way back. I think a lot of thinking that both these teams have to do when it comes to league play split 2, they need to make adjustments as a team. Ball State looked really good at the start of the series, but couldn't hold on to it. Struggled a little bit, of course, in the back half of games. And Baylor, they got better. They're still seeing what's plaguing them on the offensive defensive end of things, but they have those bright spots of where things are clicking and looking really good, and they're finding the opportunities they need. You know, it was a fun series to see 2 entirely different teams and their makeup show up and kind of brawl to figure out who's better in the moment.
And right now, it seems like Ball State is living up to expectations. Honestly, if they don't feel that happy after that win, I think it's because they want that game differential. They knew that game kind of get away from them. But also, I mean, it might be because Guh is in a rough spot. Namely, he's playing from the broom closet, I think. I'm not sure why there's no lights on within his setup if he's out playing at the Ball State facility. Regardless, Trixa, I mean, there's a lot to explore here. And honestly, I really want to dig into this. But I think that's best served by actually talking to the team. So hopefully we'll be able to chat with them after this break, because we'll have more of CRL Fall split number 2 after this.
I know you said stay out of this bit, but I don't get tired of it. You told me I'd never be happy. I'm not sad at all.
Here, but no one really talks about it.
What exactly are we looking for? Something that was buried in Darien a long time ago.
Red Bull gives you wings.
At Domino's, we're making it rain for bread lovers. Let us introduce you to new sweet cinnamon and new savory garlic bread bites joining classic Parmesan on the Domino's menu. Get a box of 32 for $6.99 when you mix and match. Only at Domino's.
Welcome back to CRL action. We just got the conclusion of that Baylor Ball State series. Levante's in the booth, and well, Ball State gets the dub in the past 48 hours. Looks like I've had a lot of enemies. I'm just kidding. Being joined by one of the people that have been talked about most highly. Please welcome Wova. Wova, talk to me, man. How you feeling?
Feels good. Feels good to be back in league play after missing the first split. So, feels good.
You know, in the chat before we went live, you were saying you were waiting to talk to me, man. Oh, the floor is now open. Go say what's on your chest and on your heart right now.
So you really want the smoke. Look, I mean, it's no hard feelings. I get it. Actually, I don't get it. I don't know why you're ranking us so terribly and saying we break your heart. I don't understand that. But just know that we use that as motivation, pretty much. So I want to thank you because you're the reason why we're here. You're one of the reasons. So thank you. You
know, I want to talk to you about that because close qualifier, I was shocked and or appalled, not before I'm getting tagged, but you guys kind of went through that, shredded the competition. You yourself was called out as being on another level. So what was going through your mind all day Saturday?
I don't know. It was just a good day. I know against Concord, none of us really, I don't know, we respect them as players, but we always want to beat them. So I don't know. It was like that series was just a flow state. It just felt good.
Okay, so all right, let's you know what? I'm gonna take off the caster voice for a second. I'm gonna tell you this, man. I like Ball State, I really do. And now's a chance for you to go out here and show and prove. And if it's gonna be at my expense, then go ahead and do it. But talk to me about the competition today. You were with Baylor. At first, it felt like it was gonna be a little bit difficult in that game 1, and then you hit that next gear. What was going through your mind between game 1 and 2?
Yeah, so I mean, game 1 felt good, and then it kind of started to slip a little bit, but going into the series against Baylor was kind of like a revenge type of series because they beat us twice. Like, bracket reset us to allow us to have to play through the open. So that series just meant a lot to us.
Now I gotta put you on the spot. If you were on Champ League this past Friday, where would you rank yourselves in the top 16?
Winthrop us, number 2. Me, Ball State.
Okay. So I'm crazy for 15, but 2 is great. Okay.
Oh, whoa. I feel like 2's balanced. I feel like 2's better than 15.
Shout out to numbers. All right, so the split 2 is going to be on the next couple of weeks, man. What is going through your mind to keep the skills sharp, to keep the chemistry up as you guys roll on this grueling content?
Like, why we're so good is because we don't just play with each other inside the game, but outside the game. Like, we're going to Texas Roadhouse after this just to chill and celebrate. So I think that's what makes us so good, is that we have such a good relationship outside the game. So that's what we're going to continue to do and keep scrimming hard and, yeah, go from there.
I kind of feel like you won't want to invite me. Last question or comment. Anything you want to say to anyone in the league right now? Open floor for you guys.
Look, I just say we're going to try our best, and we're going to go for top 4. That's the goal, is make the natties. And just everyone watch out because we're on a tear right now. So.
Hey, shout out. No true words have been spoken. Thanks so much, Rowan, for the kind thoughts. And I took all the smoke, man. I'm cool. I know I'm wrong. You guys made me look like a total idiot. I appreciate that. So appreciate your time as well. So Ball State already making it happen here on the first day of Split 2 play. I got off easy. I thought for sure I was going to get myself. You're trouble. Seth, talk to me.
I mean, you got the smoke, right? I was just not expecting the switch up, right? Like, I thought you were going to stick with that energy all the way through. But either way, I'm happy you guys reconciled. 2 is kind of crazy, though. I would never put Ball State at 2.
That's what I'm saying.
that was kind of wild. But
He
either way,
did give you a couple eye rolls, though, Nirvana.
Yeah,
I gotta say, you could say he let you off easy, but there was a little bit in there that may have been implied.
But that's
I got thanked for motivation, man. That counts for something.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what makes Ball State such a fun team to watch, is they do have a bit of that fire to them, a bit of that swagger to them, that they can just really ball out when they want to. Good chemistry on that team. That's a team that has taken down Titans in the past purely off the chemistry of their team. They are now finding themselves in pretty good form. Baylor, though, Taco. It's nice 0-2 start to the split.
Yeah, and I was talking with Navanta and Chixa after both of those first 2 series, and I see the path for Baylor. I see the way, the universe, the alternate dimension where they are getting those series wins, because the first 2 games are not the best. Game 2 looks a little bit better. And then game 3 is exactly what I want out of them. They're playing clean, they're playing effective, they're getting their pass off. They're not constantly peaking, they're just playing well. And then in game 4, it felt like they continued that. They learned their lessons from series 1. And then those back-to-back goals, it was just like, I had my head in my hands. I'm like, not like this, like any other way to lose, not the back-to-back, and then suddenly everything goes out the window. So definitely a lot to improve on, but that's why league play is multiple weeks. This is just good tape to learn from.
Yeah, and I'm definitely feeling that L from the prediction, that's for sure. I put my faith in the team, and it was not rewarded. That's what I can say. But even though that was not rewarded, what may be rewarded might be my faith in the next series. Yes, it will be Oklahoma Christian versus St. Clair College. I'm very excited for this one. I think, one, this is OKC needing the proper test to be able to cement themselves off after coming off of the closed qualifier to really prove that they are amongst the best in collegiate Rocket League and that they can continue to do so on a consistent basis. And Navata, this is a no better team to prove that.
Yeah, absolutely. These are both teams that really show what they can do, and the fact they're here on day one should really be a testament of how they got here together and their clash of styles if there weren't. Christian, I love. Remember last week with their doubleheader, I had faith in them both times, but I had a chance to really go ahead and go forward. Didn't even work out for them the way I thought they would be. But St. Clair is another squad that, even though you always tend to favor them, Zeb, I think is deserving of some, if not most, of their praise.
I think so. I also got absolutely baited when you said Christian, because I was like, wait, are we talking about the St. Clair goal player? Right. No, the OK Christian, who has proven themselves continuously. We've had a bit of arguments on where to properly rank this team. I know Bass and I have gone back and forth over where do we put this team, Taco? Because this is a team that we've seen the highs and we've seen the lows. And I know he will disagree with me calling them streaky, but that's kind of what I see right now. Are they on that upswing?
They're definitely on an upswing. The back half of the league, honestly, even back third of their league play looked pretty good. They took a loss against Northwood, and you're saying, well, that's Northwood. I mean, it's kind of a tough game. But then they beat Cumberland convincingly, and that team in Cumberland did not make it through the close qualifiers. That is the team we swapped out for Ball State. And outside of that, Oklahoma Christian, they took care of business. They took a loss and then just kind of cruised through the lower bracket. They swept Akron, which is a great matchup because they beat them earlier in open quals to get into league play. And we're thinking, well, that's just a lucky one. That's just a one-off. And then they did it again. And then they did it again in another outside competition. So it shows that, yeah, they are elite. They're capable of being here. And honestly, even in last semester, we saw St. Clair take down Oklahoma Christian. I think it's going to be a lot more competitive this time. I don't think we're just going to go to 4. I mean, this has the capability of going either way, and it could be, yeah, streaky team, but that's just another way of saying they're really good right now. I think they're still on that streak.
They are, and that's what kind of terrifies me, Chicksa, is because this is the St. Clair, obviously, that I want to see at Nationals. Absolutely no bias, by the way. That I want to see at Nationals, that I really want to see them to be able to perform, and that have continued to perform. They, you know, we've all kind of collectively put them around the third best in CRL right now, but this is a team in OKC that has that potential to shake things up.
Yeah, I will say both these teams didn't do like incredibly well when League Split 1. Like, let's be honest with ourselves with St. Clair too. They did go 4-3, so it wasn't the most convincing of victories. Same thing, Oklahoma Christian went 2-5. I'm just saying, for a team that has been at the upper echelon and ranking 3, you would expect them to only have 1 or 2 losses instead, taking that third, being just above that 50% margin. But that's just how close CRL is now in our current state.
If you want, I get it.
I'm just saying we need to be a little more careful where we rank these teams. We've seen obviously how so
what did I do wrong? What did I do?
We went past that series. That's like, we can move on from there. We don't have to keep reaction.
But let's be careful where we place these teams. You can't really say third best definitively at this point. They need to prove it to us week after week to earn that ranking, and it just is a very volatile state in CRL right now. And who is better? OKC I think had a phenomenal close bracket. With that being said, did they fall to Ball State though and have to go through lowers? Yes. And did we just watch Ball State just now? Are they a convincing team? Yes. But are they a second team like Wolva said? Probably not. No as well. So all of these we need to play with a grain of salt.
I mean, listen, Wolva can put himself up there if he wants, but listen, you got a lot of matchups to play, and that is what league play is for. It's why we have this system. It's so we get those those consistent matchups. Everyone gets to play against each other in a league play fashion. It's not like a bracket system or anything like that. I think St. Clair, and I mean this honestly, bias cap aside, right? Canada cap off. I genuinely am confused as to where to put them, only because they have taken some weird losses and they've taken some really good losses, right? We've seen in the past that they can excel against the best in, like against Northwood or whoever it might be, but we continue to see just not that same level that we saw last year when they did win a national championship, when they did really prove to them that they were the best in the country. And especially with this league play where it really is all based off of consistency and being able to prove that. So far, Taco, the only one that we've seen to be able to actually prove that consistency day in, day out has been Winthrop. And St. Clair, even though we know that they are capable, they just still continue to slip at times. And OKC might be a team that inconsistency can really fall into.
I think Oklahoma Christian has emerged from, typically we refer to a lot of teams within the kind of second tier of Rocket League as like the threshold team, where if you can't beat them, you're never going to make it into the top tier of competition. But at the same time, when that team does get into top 8, like Oklahoma Christian, they're a great team for saying, okay, I think if we play at our peak, we're probably good, but if we falter even a little bit, we're probably going to lose the series, or they're really going to take us to the brink. And I think OKC has been kind of perfect for that exact system of play, where they are playing solid, their chemistries get better. Shout out to Talo, their coach, for being able to make sure they have a system in place where, yeah, maybe mechanically they're not par for par with some of these squads, but you can bet that if there's an open pass, they will find it. If there's a demo attempt on a counterattack, they will find it. Like, they are a lethal team. It's just about being able to put things together. So for St. Clair, I think knowing how good they are as the spring champions in CRL, yeah, of course you can beat any team, but you have to actually put the pieces together and learn that not only has it been, a full semester, half a year since then, everyone else has improved. You have to also step up your game in a commensurate way.
Yeah. And I want to bring up the previous series previous instance that these guys played, which was last split. That went to 4, but they were almost all 1-goal games. The only one that wasn't a 1-goal game was the last game in Game 4. That was a 4-2 win for St. Clair. And those, to me, Chicksa, speak to close margins, right? That even when arguably OKC was struggling a little bit more, they were still able to be competitive against St. Clair.
Yeah, I do think OKC is consistently kind of that wild card, that dark horse that will come through at times and surprise you and shock you and do really well and beat a top team, but they lack in the consistency factor of things. They're one of those very pop-off moment sort of teams that we're wondering they have the keys to success. They have a really solid set of players. They have mechanics at times, and maybe they just aren't all on the same page. Yeah. While St. Clair tends to have a little bit more consistency and how they play, especially I think they've settled down a lot when it comes to split 1. Yep. So hopefully I think we'll get a very good match, at least at the minimum. We've had phenomenal matches so far today, and in League Split 1 I think it'll be a very close one just due to the nature of both of these teams.
Well, we apologize for the delay. It seems as we're just getting the lobby ready and good to go. But it is ready now, so let's get to predictions from our lovely casters here. Taco, where do you see this one going, bud?
I think this is, of course, something that I'm sure everyone on OC Esports program is going to be not surprised with, but I'm picking against them. I'm going with St. Clair in this one. Not because I don't think the OC's playing the best we've seen them in a while, but because I think St. Clair was in a situation where they had to watch other teams play to lock in Split 2. And that is not a fun situation. I think they know that, okay, we took it maybe not too casually last semester or last split, but we need to lock in. And I think this is a perfect opportunity to prove that, yeah, we beat you last split. We're going to do it again. I don't care how much better you've got.
All right, Navanta.
Well, I've dropped 5 predictions in a row, but I'm going to go with St. Clair with this one as well. Stronger team on paper, definitely the more dynamic squad as well. Let's see if it all comes together in this one.
Chicks up.
This makes me a little nervous. I'm also going with St. Clair, and it's only making me nervous because I have a feeling I know what someone else is going. I do think St. Clair has been more consistent. Anyways.
Wait. Seb said his Canadian hat is off, so it could be different.
Seb?
Oh no, he's fetching a prop. You know what that means.
You know what it means. You know what it means. It's gonna be St. Clair all the way, and there is no doubt about it. Yeah, that was standard, guys. All right, but we did sweep the desk, which now kind of makes me scared because that means that a potential curse could be happening. Either way, I know that there's fans on both sides. I know that this is a very hotly contested matchup that either way, whatever the result is going to be a barn burner. It's going to be so fun to watch, but those are our predictions across the board for St. Clair. I'm sorry, guys. Like, you know, it had to happen. Either way, our lobby is ready to go. The players are ready. We are ready. I know you guys are ready. We're so ready to get into what will be our third match of the day between these two teams. It's going to be St. Clair looking to cement themselves near the top of Collegiate Rocket League. And OK Christian, fresh off a closed qualifier and looking better than ever. These two are ready, so let's get down to the pitch.
You can call this one an international incident. It's going to be the workhorse, Oklahoma Christian against dynamic St. Clair. I'm Novant in the booth being joined by the legend herself, Chicks. How's it going?
Oh, no, Vanta, I'm so excited for this one. I'm a little scared that we did sweep the desk because one thing I know is OC is another social monster. They will, in fact, take a photo of us already, all with that prediction, and they will, in fact, tweet it if we are all wrong. And that's just how dangerous the current scenario is. I say dangerous lightly. It's really fun to have that social battle going on right now for who is better in the league. But I do think, due to the nature of OC Christian, that at times they are able to do just that. They are able to surprise you. They are able to do really well. But, you know, again, St. Clair, very consistent, very locked and loaded team. Anything could happen in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything can happen. I'm sure you're going to get pretty much a sampling of that. There are these two teams that have so many different kinds of flavors of attacking the net and defending. You may get yourself a bit of a masterclass in that Rocket League vein. That's it. 30 seconds already gone, and nary a score there, Chicksa.
Yep, I'm waiting for someone to kind of rise in this series in particular. All 6 players on the field have potential for pop-off moments, but generally in these series we do see one person in particular that likes to be a little bit more ahead of the group. And for now, everyone's been testing the water side. For now, can only get that touch on the corner. Arju's still there, blocked off by G-Man. A demo in the net, and nothing will come from it. St. Clair just continuing to test the waters on offense. That little bit of a beat no is an open opportunity for Sai.
Well, you're talking about who's going to step up and really be the heroes. That's kind of the advantage here in league play, but goals like that, able to pass a defender with a bit of ease, that's a tool kit you're going to use many times over. Sai opens the scoring for St. Clair.
Really great start for St. Clair. 4 shots, 3 particular from side to even get that first opportunity, but still here, the pass down to North won't be connected, and Sai has space to work with. From behind, he won't get above. Sees Arju in center field, the pass perfectly put on target, and Arju gets one.
Oh man, special delivery on a Sunday, almost coast to coast, going up the wall, and really it's Arju finding an angle that can split the defense. Got a little bit of resistance at the goal line, but it was drafted up, pretty much picked perfect.
Yeah, I honestly could say that was pretty picture perfect in terms of St. Clair, and still they want more. Continuing right off kickoff is Jazzy. Side to contest, and North will send it up forward for OK and Christian. Back on down, Arju. Can't do much with it. Some space, but still you see Jazzy coming through, finding the challenge, and St. Clair not giving OK Christian any time or space. Continuously off the ceiling, off the sidewalls, you are seeing those aerial challenges, and OK Christian just can't get to the pace of gameplay that they want to right now.
But let's talk about defensive formations right now, about Oklahoma Christian. A lot of the reasons why they always seem to be in the group of that Tier 1A or even Tier 2 teams, because we see how they can step up when need be. For example, they're down 2 goals, and what you saw on the defensive line, they spread out from basically from corner to corner to make sure they can do as much of a clear as they can, and the ball comes to them. The fact they're able to dynamically shift from the fly says that they work pretty quickly. They're good at team chemistry. They're good at adjusting formations on the fly. Their Achilles heel, if there ever was one, one was your scoring woes. And that is, I know defense wins games, but you got to score if you want to win. And that's really been a problem that's been plaguing them.
Yeah, halfway through this game one, OK Christian with only a single shot on the scoreboard. They just haven't had those opportunities, I feel, that they need to in order to even remotely get on the scoreboard. G-Man even bumped right off the rip, trying for that aerial play. Doesn't get farther than just that side. We'll have a shot to work with. Two will double commit, and the save ultimately caught up by North. But still again, Jazzy gets the flip reset, gets another touch, still beats, and every single St. Clair player with a goal on the board.
Sometimes we say goals are manufactured, and sometimes we say goals are class. It's a little bit of both. Jazzy being able to beat the defense on the wall and bring it down in the face of Chile, that says, I believe in myself and watch me do it. It's now 3-0.
Impressive performance so far by St. Clair. Very even again across the board as a team effort. It's something that we love to see, really showing that everyone is in the right mindset today to be playing as they should. Sai from the back sends it towards the backboard. Great read by G-Man. No follow-up touch, though. Read by St. Clair. Double tap read. And Sai was there. Could have made another for St. Clair. Just didn't get the pre-jump read that he needed for that. Unfortunate, but with a 3-goal lead buffer, how much more could St. Clair need at this point?
Yeah, absolutely. You can really park the bus. You can slow it down if you want to. Or what I would suggest, because of the way these series have been going, is try to see if your vertical attacks on net, I'm talking about using the ceiling and coming down Broad Street, is a tactic you can use, especially in those games 3 and 4 when an opponent understands what you've been doing and tries to adjust. You have the lead, you have the time, you have the space. How about you experiment in the run of the game to make sure you can put some tactics if you need them later on.
Great touch by Sai, but North will be there first. Sends it to the ground, and Arju is able to get in the way. No read, but Jazzy has the follow-up. This one won't be on target. G-Man, I think, to it a little bit late, but St. Clair can't challenge them right now. Working on wall. Chile's there, does get the jump, but the read deflected by Jazzy. The follow-up shot won't be found, and still the shooting woes, offensive woes for OK Christian are upon us. They haven't been able to score a field. They're getting bumped defensively. Arju puts another one here, and St. Clair right now just can't be stopped.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. That fourth goal almost seems like an afterthought or exclamation point, but the way you conceded it, getting bumped out the way, just making sure your meal has been taken off the plate, that right there might hurt a little bit of the psyche, but the result's still the same. There hasn't been a score from OK Christian in almost 5 minutes of play, and that's critical no matter how you slice it.
Yeah, to end the game with nothing is heartbreaking. Arju will put another one on the board, has now. Hat trick, 3 goals in this game in particular, and St. Clair still, they're making it look easy. They're controlling the game when it comes to boost, when it comes to ball management, when it comes to offensive pressure, the passing game. Sai with 2 assists across the 5 goals. They'll get another one here off kickoff. They certainly hold all momentum at this point in the game.
So we're talking about psyche and being locked in and being able to concede games for the better part of the series. The first 4 goals, that sounds terrible to say, right? The first 4 goals, OK Christian was pretty much locked in. Goal number 5, letting Arju have all that space to get the mid-boost. That's something you do when you're not on the ball, and that 6 goal is definitely a product of that. So I got a feeling they're ready to pack it in and say, let's get ourselves ready for game 2.
Yeah, with 5 seconds left on the clock, we'll hope that this one does indeed just touch the ground any second from now. It seems like St. Clair ready to continue moving on with this series. Want to pack it up in a nice tidy bow. And then as for Oklahoma Christian, they need to assess what just happened this last series. How can they stop the passing plays coming through from St. Clair? How can they defensively be ready? And ultimately, how can they generate offensive pressure to put St. Clair in their half? Because St. Clair only needed 2 saves throughout that entire 5 minutes of gameplay.
I hope those questions weren't rhetorical, because I have answers. I do think the score line has been pretty much lopsided, so this is going to sound weird. But really, the first half of the game, the defense is pretty strong. Like I said, I love the fact they were able to shift on the fly. They were locked up with their opponents, and they understood what to do. But they got to a point where St. Clair was just so technically proficient, they really couldn't stop what was happening. So if you're Oklahoma Christian, now it's time to really shuffle the deck. It seems cool in a fight to hit your hands up and try to defend your temples, but you may have to put with some footwork too. Be more dynamic, put yourself, feint some offensive moves, and go back to that defensive formation and hopefully win the possession game. And once you get the possession game, the different kind of lens for you to put some things on the scoreboard for yourself.
Yeah, possession is everything, regardless of how much boost you have. Going for that 50, keeping that ball close, allowing your teammates time, or being in a particular part of the field, generally offensively speaking, gives you the advantage at the end of the day. And St. Clair has continually put themselves in the advantage. At this point, now, Oklahoma Christian needs to do the same. How can they gain the advantage on St. Clair? Can they get there in time to do just that? I'm hoping we see at least a score from them. Maybe someone has the keys on the side of Oklahoma Christian to put themselves at least a little bit on the scoreboard.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we in Rocket League casting and we make kind of fun of the Brazil, the Barcelona, but I really think, and I'm not sure the science behind it, but scientifically, quote unquote, that not being able to score in the corner of the game does more damage to Team Psyche, Team Chem, because a lot of times some people try to break over rotations and try to be a hero. So for Oklahoma Christian, you got to put that second half of game one out of your mind and say what worked for you defensively, now add on the offensive part.
Looks like Chile for now. Moving on forward, trying to find a bump will instead back pass to G-Man, but didn't have enough on it. The 50 luckily will keep itself from going on in the net. Chile needs to put this safely into the corner. He'll do just that, but doesn't get a follow-up touch. Arju away from the ball. G-Man, no boost in the tank. North has a little bit, and that little bit will go a long way to at least put it on the other end of the field. North, no follow-up touch. Sai, control in the air. Boost as well, sends it over to Arju. A great pre-jump by Chile to block it, but still the pass, almost the cherry pick down on the waterfall. Can't exactly find what's needed. For now, St. Clair living in Oklahoma Christian's half, but yet not able to find it in the back of the net again.
I understand that we don't really talk about boost starving strategies anymore because it kind of seems like an old school meta, but they got to give a tip of the cap to St. Clair. Understanding when they have themselves right in front of the net, what a save on the line with Arju. That right there was desperation personified, but definitely made sure it happened. I was going to say with the boost starving strategy, you see St. Clair drop back, take mid boost, and really cut the pitch off in half, and that's been really giving them opportunities left and right.
Block here. Jazzy up to Sai. Sai has the angle and Chile has the better read. Another deflection and save for the likes of Oklahoma Christian. North bumped though by Arju. Arju to get there first. Chile up. The block is still in front of net. G-Man the pop, and this one by Jazzy still causing chaos. Chile there, fading. They both go for it, both go away, and Chile still gets there first. Arju somehow has never left that side of the field, ends up picking 100 boost and making that much chaotic energy upfield.
Oh man, Arju, the car control and being a little bit locked in to understand how they can really be effective with zero boost and no momentum. That is definitely something you don't see too many players show and display. But the fact that flashed it was amazing, but it was all for naught. Chile opened the scoring there for OPC.
Yeah, beautiful transition, a huge clear for G-Man, and Chile comes up to just deflect it, place it where it's needed, away from Jazzy and Sai, who are rotating back. A seamless transition at that for Oklahoma Christian, and that's their way to get on the board first.
Yeah, being on the board first is pretty much put you ahead of it because, again, that scoring drought was getting to critical errors in numbers. But St. Clair has shown us, if anything, to have the tools to have a bit of a response, and I expect a little bit of that corner play to make sure a part of their offensive attack moving forward.
Yeah, not very well communicated here as that ball was on the St. Clair half. Fortunately, Oklahoma Christian couldn't get one. Arju takes away from this one. Jazzy on the follow-up, and what a way to be selfless for St. Clair.
What did we say that corner shot? Okay, that one didn't go all the way to the corner, but definitely with that zigzag pattern. Jazz picks up the garbage to make sure it's in the net, but by then you're delaying the inevitable. Going wide when you see your opponent coming at you like a batter ram is the best way to evade, and St. Clair gets back on the board.
Jazzy has it off kickoff, controlling. Sai is there. They couldn't get the connection between the two teammates, but still retain possession in the Oklahoma Christian half. Chile demoing Arju for his efforts. That gives them some time to now go upfield, trying to get over Sai, who challenged, but can't do just that with the flip reset. Sai in the corner, keeps it there. North on the jump, trying to get that much further, but a huge clear for St. Clair relieves that pressure again.
pressure is a valve, and sometimes it may work to your advantage to really keep your opponent off balance. But sometimes I kind of wonder whether or not you're doing just a little bit too static nature. It's still tied 1 apiece. I understand the last series I was on, I was being too aggressive, but being aggressive is great. Jazzy on the button.
What? How did he find the second touch here? It goes off the ground. He keeps it, controls his car, air rolls it to get back down to it, and somehow puts that much power behind his ball and the car. Impressive performance by Jazzy, and now St. Clair has the lead all of a sudden. I was not prepared for that shot, and clearly Oklahoma Christian wasn't prepared for it either. Somehow, even after being down, St. Clair have came back, have more opportunities, are continuing to play the game that they are in control of.
Well, I always tell people, if you want to get better at Rocket League, and that's free play 1v1. But if you want to get better at the philosophy of the game, ask Danger Taco, the smartest guy I know. It's all psychology. It's psychology in boxing. What we saw in game 2 was a classic case of rope-a-dope. St. Clair hung back. They made sure they weren't too aggressive. They saw what Oklahoma Christian can do, saw the time on the clock, and found a way to strike late into this game, giving them an advantage.
Now 30 seconds left. Desperate is Oklahoma Christian. They're working the corners, can't really get the clear that's needed. That's an open net, and Sai will be there first. They'll successfully get it on transition, and that's just the cherry on top to secure this one.
Not the point of this goal call, but I love that goal explosion. What better way to say you hit pay dirt by seeing all those rings fly? It could be the dagger, it could be the twist, but that right there was a classic 1-2 punch.
18 seconds left on the clock. Would have to be a miracle right now for Oklahoma Christian to get a goal. Chile won't be to it quick enough. In fact, we might see another one for St. Clair, and we will do just that. Somehow it bounces perfectly off the pinch to get another opportunity.
I don't want to pile on a victory line like that, but I'm not sure what North was doing being out of position so far. Was it just a boost situation? Was it kind of like a misdirection of the ball? That's something anyone have to go back in the VOD review come Monday.
Not another one. No way!
No way, chat disabled. Yeah, sure, icing on the cake, whatever you want to call it. Not necessarily a pinch on purpose, but definitely a pinch in practice. And now it's 5-1.
What a way for St. Clair to make this seem like it was a wider gap than it was. Let's be honest, this game was very close for majority of it. What is with their kickoffs? My goodness, St. Clair. Whatever strategy they have, let's put it on replay a little bit, because that certainly works. They brought 2 or 3 and they won all those kickoffs at the end of the game and just piled on to it. But at the end of the day, St. Clair outshot their opponent 13-2. The other game previously 11-3. They have total outshot their opponent 24-5 between games 1 and 2, and that just shows you how opportunities really change the matter of the game.
I understand that. I think all of us here in the desk, I tend to be more of the mental caster, but this right here is the perfect example of Oklahoma's Christians' woes, right? They're good offensively, defensively. We say this week in and week out, but they have this tendency to just give up. I don't want to use that phrasing, it's a bit too harsh. Here is something that had a bit of pressure, and then you saw the defense absolutely collapse in that last 90 seconds. Those last 2 goals were just not necessarily even should be in the conversation. Victories and losses are part of Rocket League, but it's a full 5 minutes for a reason. I'm telling you, I'm begging OKC, if they find a way to lock in from tip to tip, from bell to bell, this could be a different result.
Yep. They need to show us what they've shown us before in the past, and right now it doesn't seem like anyone is in the current headspace to fight against St. Clair and fight for the series. We mentioned how even if they can't win the series in particular, game differential has mattered so much. It mattered on the very last day of League Split 1, and it could matter even in League Split 2 now. So they should be fighting for every game possible that they could even win, because that may depend on how they move on forward at the end of the season.
You're absolutely right. Shout out to CRL for actually understanding what that means to have that game differential tiebreaker mechanism, because you're right. It really incentivizes anyone, doesn't matter what your opponent is or the week, to give you 100% the top level competition at all times.
Ooh. double tap look by Chile, but they weren't able to find the angle needed. Granted, a nice look and a little bit of life for Oklahoma Christian to get some pressure. Now defensively, they have to do just that. G-Man blocks one and blocks two. A great read on the fall. Jazzy not much boost in the tank, but you saw what he was able to do earlier. Side not much boost either. Arju last back needs to win. This one does get the 50, but Oklahoma Christian still coming with pressure. North back forward, read found by Sai. Is he over the entire fence? No, Chile in the way. Jazzy still pushing. This one's still high and Chile able to clear away.
I bet Sai wished they had about 5 or 7 more boosts because that could have been the first runaway goal. But I love the effort, being able to make your opponent come out of rotation and make it happen. But as I say that, was knocked away the last half a second.
Double tap read here for Sai as an open net. The finish is there by Arju. And St. Clair just poke and prod at the defense for this one.
Yeah, it looks like terrible on replay, but I understand you saw what your teammate not get the ball, so everyone kind of get to the right side to make sure that ball gets knocked away. But one whiff changes everything. St. Clair back in the driver's seat.
Kickoff win for St. Clair. The 50 win, though, by G-Man. Can get there again. He cannot. Just going to be a nuisance. Allow a teammate to come on through, and Chile has no boost. Still looking for that challenge, though. This challenge finds its way in the midfield. The bounce in favor of Jazzy, who wasn't really ready for it. So the challenge again comes on through. Chile, 50, this one out from North. Chile on the bump, so North will follow up on the play, just doesn't have the momentum of his car. And this one again deflected away by St. Clair upfield.
I'm not sure what the plan was there. Was it supposed to be a pass to Chile, a little bit off the mark for a potential shot, or was it kind of a situation of seeing the pressure? Again, slow it down, understand what you want to do first, be intentional, and really open up some slots in the scoring. But St. Clair, as I'm talking about what OKC has to do, they know what they have to do. It's now 2-0.
Yeah, beautiful fast aerial by Arju. Manages to air roll to find the perfect direction, to find the shot where it needs to be placed. Arju has been on this series absolutely lethal on the accuracy, and almost another one off of kickoff, but luckily it deflects away. Now halfway through this one, St. Clair has built again another little lead for themselves, and Oklahoma Christian is still searching for a way to score.
Arju's just been a revelation on that backboard, just being able to start any kind of offensive attacking engine, if you will, on that St. Clair side. Sticking with them would probably be the difference of being in control or being dominant, and we're seeing that bit right now. It's been a complete performance from them and that squad.
Chile low on boost, Sai going upfield North, a great turn. G-Man has boost to work with. Can he get over Arju entirely? No, sends it away. Jazzy already in midfield, sending it over to Sai, and Sai can't get the touch. It would have been a gorgeous transition of show for St. Clair, and they've just been able to find each and every one of these looks. It's nice to see the creativity from St. Clair's standpoint, because you understand as soon as the pieces fall together, what they're going for in these plays. They might not be executing them all, but it's still fun to watch them try to articulate them together.
Yeah, it's definitely fun for us. I'm not sure how they're feeling. They're probably like, oh, come on. I can't get it happening. But yeah, I understand we were talking about creativity winning the day. But again, if you have ways to understand where your teammates are going to be, what your offensive plans are going to be, they do come in handy, especially in the dog days of league play. Because like you said, every game counts, every series counts. You got to find a way to put your opponent on the back foot.
Yeah, great persistence here by North and G-Man. In particular, G-Man comes on through, finds that first 50, still falls down from that back wall into yet another 50 win, and gives Oklahoma Christian one goal here. It may be a majority of St. Clair winning a lot of these challenges in this one, but it's still a 2-1 lead for St. Clair, and one goal isn't a lot, especially in Rocket League with 0-second heroics.
Yeah, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. Got to give Oklahoma Christian credit there for that one, because I think a game ago they would have already rotated out and say that shot was blocked. Being able to put the car fully forward to try to get that dunked in, yes, it wasn't pretty, but it was definitely effective and definitely needed.
Up here for North, does find a challenge. Jazzy has an extra touch, and Chile just gets in the way in time for the save. Arju, a pop-up. G-Man will be here for it first. North winning the 50, pushing it forward, but Jazzy has another tank of boost to work with it. Chile, the perfect read, but can the follow-up be found? North another challenge. This ball's staying on the St. Clair half, but where's the shot? This one's saved by Arju. Chili to send it over to G-Man. Chili, back to Chili, and just like that, the 1-2-1 goes on through.
Supporters were dying for it in the chat, and this is what you needed. Clutch if you need it. Tiki-taka offense. Pep Guardiola's blushing, and we're tied at 2 apiece. That is a critical goal there, Chicksa.
Yep, that ties up the game. It is the most critical goal that OKC has had throughout this entire series. This one the closest for them on an opportunity to win. They just need to be clean and try to make one last play with 15 seconds left. They have the boost right now. The backboard touch in North unfortunately jumped a little too early. Chili here, the shot, but Arju makes the save. And now they look to go and transition across the field. 2 seconds left on the clock. This one off the ceiling and down. It'll touch the ground, and we see overtime in game 3.
Arju was lying at that goal line like a snake in the grass, struck when the iron was hot and give him a chance to win, but forget that. Delaying the inevitable, Chicksa. OKC gets the dub.
Yeah, even on shot count 8-8, the first time in this series that Oklahoma Christian is able to fight fire with fire. Wins the kickoff here when St. Clair has been winning the majority of them. And just like that, Oklahoma Christian, they extend the series further.
In all honesty, it looked like it was going to be a sweep, but this team, Oklahoma Christian, is deserving of more than that. And what do I say? That concentration on the back half of that game was really what was needed. It was that pass and goal that tied it up, and definitely locking in when the OT started to make sure to get the dub.
Yeah, again, impressive that Oklahoma Christian had really the grit and the determination to fight in the back half of this series, because St. Clair started off with 2 goals and they just weren't able to score again. Oklahoma Christian started finding a couple more passing plays, a little bit more boost. They worked their way through the defense, and ultimately a kickoff goal is what sealed the deal.
Yeah, you got to give also credit to G-Man in that assist. I am definitely a playmaker, Metal Hounds myself. Being able to help out and supply decent quality service to your team has really been a revelation for that team. I would double down on that strategy moving forward.
Yeah, all eyes are on G-Man, who had a phenomenal last performance. 1 goal, 2 assists, 2 saves, 3 shots, just across the scoreboard, filling it up with his efforts. But again, anybody on Oklahoma Christian could pop off at any moment, and St. Clair looking for that consistency again. What happened to that fire that we saw from them offensively, and the sturdy defense that we also saw that prevented Oklahoma Christian from those opportunities?
Yeah, now we're going to know in Neo Tokyo where really dreams are made or nightmares caused, because it looks like everyone's going to be pulling forward this time.
Start off with a kickoff in favor of St. Clair, but a clear by Oklahoma Christian, trying to find as well the bump or demo. Couldn't really find just that. Jazzy deflects this one off to the corner. North still working in, but a double bump and a clear could open up some space. Jazzy trying to deflect it, but what a read by North to deny that shot from the start. Side, this one far side, off and saved by North. Still fighting as St. Clair early, and they just haven't been able to find that shot that's needed.
When I said everyone forward, I meant that. Jazzy looked like it was going to be a perfect turtle kind of pass goal, but it was not denied. Both these teams know closing out space is important, and definitely anticipating what your opponent's going to do is definitely help them out. So we got a bit of a ping pong action, which is okay. No score, but I love the fact that both teams are willing to step up given the circumstances.
Lots of boost steals by St. Clair on the Oklahoma Christian half. It's why they've been here for so long, and they're holding that midfield line as well. Sai up from the back wall, gets it off the ceiling. Flip reset, puts it through bottom left corner, and St. Clair will start it off.
We call that threading the needle, but that needle was almost bent. Look at this, coming down and going all the way around to the end, to the fact there was almost no end to go to, and then curling it back inside the goal. Come on.
Gorgeous play by Sai, who has, by the way, already gotten 4 shots in the first minute of this game in particular. Impressive to see that someone could have just that much persistence upfield on opportunities. Granted, Oklahoma Christian again need to get out of their half. They haven't done that just yet. Good touch by North will send this into the St. Clair half. Jazzy looking, searching for something, and can't win that 50. Sai again, who has been so lethal in this one, sends it away just to relieve some of that pressure. And we go back to that ping pong action you mentioned.
really smart for Side to basically abandon that offensive attack. Really was no way to get around that. Had they gone forward, they would have been out of position. If it hit or deflected, you would have had to draw one of your teammates out, and they would have been out of position. So being able to drop back is what you don't do sometimes in Rocket League. Has been all the difference.
Dangerous ball in front of net, and somehow it doesn't go in for Oklahoma Christian. The shot by North off that passing play didn't go where it needed to, and even though the ball has been in front of the St. Clair net, somehow Oklahoma Christian just hasn't had that shot that they need. This one too high. Arju backwards, sends it up, stays up, even though Sai is on the ground for it. Will right himself off the wall, still looking for Jazzy, and this pass just a little too hard to find the connection between the two teammates.
I understand being able to go back to that passing offense, and I understand that you want to make sure that your opponent doesn't do that. But it looks like both teams have that same idea and that same counter strategy at the same time. And so it's kind of been fun to watch everyone going up there, not being able to connect from the caster booth. But I bet if I was in the comms right now, I'd be a little frustrated with a shot on the edge, and that was knocked away too. But Arju was there to put it through the net.
I almost thought the second man couldn't get to it, and the third man was too far back. But luckily, Arju sees that Jazzy misses that and finds the read, puts it on through. The defense is beat, so St. Clair again given another opportunity on a silver platter with an open net.
When you have a team that's just so good at this rebound, what St. Clair is, and I'm not necessarily a bump and demo person, if you're Oklahoma Christian, you almost have to look at who is around to even be that garbage man character, to lunge over to make sure that secondary option has no clear path to even getting near that net. You got to think about that next step ahead of it, or else you're just setting yourself up to draw everyone out and be out of position and watch that ball go through.
Yeah, another transitional passing play for St. Clair. The shot will come through as Oklahoma Christian just waits for the one that'll finally move on through. Chili though, one-on-one. G-Man going for that bump. It's enough of deflection. Chili pushes it through, and there's another one for OKC.
Coming around the bend, a little bit of some action, and also, but I love the fact that G-Man understood the assignment, dropped back, didn't try to steal the goal, just making sure that goal net was even bigger than it needed to be, and now we have ourselves on board.
Minute 30, this is the comeback that Oklahoma Christian started making in the last game. Can they do it again? Jazzy shot easily saved by North and sent away. G-Man on the ground, sends this one up, but well read by Sai. Doesn't have any sort of flip reset. This one takes over by Jazzy and deflected away by Chili. North sends it away. Sai back. Will turn on this one. Deflection will put itself back into the Oklahoma Christian half. Arju's first touch. Red, Jazzy, everybody in the way. Oklahoma Christian just crashing at that ball, making sure St. Clair doesn't get a shot off.
Does feel like Oklahoma Christian is pinned, right? Every time they try to break out of their third, they just get dunked back to their half, and that just burns valuable seconds. That's their main opponent right now. It's that clock, and it looks like it's ticking away minute by minute.
Sai off the ceiling, doesn't get the touch. That pass again, another gorgeous opportunity, was not executed as needed. You know St. Clair right now want the buffer goal, and that one. The buffer wasn't there, and the defense left wide open.
Man, sometimes you can't really call goals like that, but it's still pretty helpful. North with the tap in, pretty much delaying the inevitable. It doesn't really matter, but we have ourselves a tie game. Silver goal situation. Next one might probably win this dub. If you're St. Clair, you can't let it happen. They can't give Oklahoma Christian any bit of inch or yard.
Good initial challenge. Arju there in midfield, pops this one out. North, what a recovery to stay on the ball. Granted, he puts it dangerously in the middle of the field. Shot saved by G-Man. He was inside of the net of the post and deflected that away. How did he put himself in the right place, right time to deny? 5 seconds left on the clock. Still a push for St. Clair. The dribble here, deflected by G-Man, and we see overtime.
Well, G-Man being the critical person was definitely on my bingo card, but not like that. Man saw the future. Wow.
I'm shocked, and that puts that much more tension in this overtime. Arju, the second effort in Chili to deny. Chili off the ceiling. Understand St. Clair likes to put it in the air, and side does beat two. Still, G-Man, Jazzy looking for the bump. This one deflected off of the team goal. And heartbreak for Oklahoma Christian, who dared do overtime again.
I can't blame her for this one because you saw him on the right side. Jazzy was coming up. They're trying to get that off of the situation, but wow, a little bit of post rattle and daddle, and we have ourselves a series dub for St. Clair. GG's, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, crazy way to end. Everybody laughing on both ends of the field in St. Clair and Oklahoma Christian. I mean, in good spirits as both of those teams. Wow. That's all I'm saying. Wow, what a game, honestly.
Yeah, it could have gone in so many different ways, right? We sat there on the prediction desk. We knew St. Clair had the stuff. They had the chemistry. But I think ultimately it was two things that we didn't talk about enough on I feel. And it was definitely the boost starving strategy from St. Clair and also being okay with that kind of goal separation or goal distribution, with all members of that St. Clair side. It was just an absolute complete performance from top to bottom.
20 shots for St. Clair in that game. 20. Look at the saves. 15 saves, I think, for OKC. That's just a stat pad game and a half for both of these teams. I mean, huge shout out to Sai, who had a masterclass series when it came to offensive pressure, goals and shots and opportunities. But yeah, that game could have gone so many different ways if it was just executed a little bit differently.
Yeah, and I know if you didn't watch this series, you're probably like, oh man, St. Clair, they went out and they smacked around Oklahoma Christian. But I do think there's some good things that Oklahoma Christian can really focus on. Like I said, the defense is very malleable and flexible. Some teams don't have that. The only problem is that when they're in the run with a stronger opponent, they kind of bear down and go, okay, we're going to be the defensive team. And I know defense wins games, but this is a battle. This is a fight. You can't win fights by holding on to the block button. You got to be more aggressive and more creative on the offense. And when they did, they showed us what they can do. They just got to put 2 and 2 together. You're so close.
Well, certainly so close was Oklahoma Christian, but of course we'd like to hear a little bit from St. Clair. We're going to go to a quick break. We're done with 3 of 4 series of the day. Just one more for CRL for first week of League Split 2. We'll be right back.
Things happen here, but no one really talks about it.
What exactly are we looking for? Something that was buried in Darien a long time ago.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I fit it up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
Red Bull gives you wings.
The Monopoly game at McDonald's is back with a chance to win prizes like this Jeep Grand Cherokee, a TV, this and this and this and these. There's even $1 million prize. Play in the McDonald's app and get your bag before someone else beats you to it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
There are 2 ways to put people to sleep. The sleeper hold submission.
Not recommended.
And the sleeper hold travel pillow.
Much better. comes from nowhere, makes you wonder if you lost control, leaves you breathless, changes what you think is possible. Got me too. Brought me to you. It's got you too. Your magic's true. Your magic
Hello, welcome back, everybody. It's another series down of CRL Fall League Play, split number 2, and it's another 3-1 and another interview. Therefore, I'm Data Taco, and with me is Jazzy. After another victory, your first of split number 2, how's the gang feeling?
We feel very good, very excited to play again, especially since there was a short break. We can just take the momentum we got at the end of the split 1 into split 2, so it was very good feeling today so far.
Yeah, and being able to speak to that, I mean, just even focusing on that series, this is yet another one so far, a pattern that we've seen emerge within Split 2, where we have the games kind of shift dramatically. First 2 games, you guys were 11-1 in goals, and then it went to 7-7. How hard do you feel like in this semester of CRL is it to close series out at the current competition level?
The current competition level is insanely high. Like, this has been the most CRL season we've ever been in. So closing out games is always tough, but you just log in properly and just get the job done. We're able to do it, fortunately.
And even speaking to that, I mean, we were trying to watch you close that game out on Neo Tokyo, but one thing I love about you guys is that you guys are pre-jumping each other and going for like really ridiculous plays. I mean, how do you build that into your strategy, even when you're trying to play such a competitive game?
I think being creative and just having fun on the field is like one of the most important parts about esports in general, just to keep the mentality high, have fun, don't get too cramped up in the game, basically. So just having the flexibility and creativity to go for these kind of plays, which are very fun to do, right? Like these region plays are the most fun thing in Rocket League, I think. So just doing that just helps us elevate our gameplay as well.
I mean, that's the strategy I heard from a lot of teams. They're like, we got to focus on having fun. You can't be like super serious all the time. And I think you guys are probably, in a good way, the least serious high-level team that we do have, at least based on your player cams. But either way, I mean, speaking of mentality, at the end of the last split, you guys played pretty well. You guys got into the top 4, but you had to watch Oklahoma Christian hopefully win games to get you in. What's like the mentality going into this split for the part 2 of Fall after going through that really stressful situation?
Yeah, at this split, we definitely don't want to like give it out of our hands. So we want to secure the top 4 and hopefully top 1 this split by ourselves, not wanting to hope watch again a second time. But I can't lie, it was very funny to like hope watch Oklahoma Christian. Like we woke up, watched the game, we're like, oh my god, please score, please score. that was hilarious.
Yeah, we were actually wondering about that. I was saying, oh, it's going to be a hate watch. You guys are going to be like rooting against Cumberland and Northwood. But then I was like, actually, no, it could be a supportive thing. You're waiting for it. Hey, you didn't have to wait long. They won their first game and you guys were in. But regardless of all that, you did survive into Split 2. The number 1 team in Split 1 was Winthrop. That is your next game. You're playing them in like 3 minutes. So going into that, you guys seem obviously warmed up. But what is like a team's preparation from the St. Clair camp going into a game against a team like Winthrop?
Just get off the high of winning the first series very quickly, log in again, and just be focused, very focused, since we played the seed 1 of CL now, right?
Yeah, and obviously there's a chance for you to actually be able to lock in that first place. I guess technically you are tied with a lot of other teams in that role, but there's a chance to be able to launch yourself ahead with that doubleheader. So we'll let you get to it. Any of the last words, shout outs you want to give before we let you get back to your preparation?
Thanks to Chris and Sean for being there. Thanks to my teammates for being awesome. Thanks to our coaches, our sub. Great people.
just sliding into the background of your cam. All right, well, vibes seem to be high. Best of luck in your next series. I'll let you get back to it.
Thank you.
And so obviously, yeah, as we hear from them, it seems like they're all good, and I do like that approach. They seem like they're having fun, and it was fun to watch them.
I get it. I get it, Jazzy. I get it. You know, okay, whatever. You know, no shout-outs, nothing.
What?
I feel that.
You want a shout-out, buddy? You're not in the room. You're not touching a controller. Get out of here.
Bro thinks in the team, bro.
But I got the jersey. No, I'm kidding. Either way, no, like you mentioned, I mean, this is a team that since its inception really has kind of been a vibes-heavy team. You see it from the players. You see it from the coaching staff. So much of what makes them work is based on their mood. And that could be a good thing. That could be a bad thing. But what you'll always see from St. Clair whenever they're on camera is that they're always smiling. They're always laughing. They're legitimately enjoying the game, which is really nice to see, not just in Rocket League, but just within the competitive space in general for CRL, is like a team that is enjoying themselves. And to see how well they were able to take care of business, I mean, my God, chicks, of those first 2 games, the amount of goals, unbelievable.
Yeah, I will say, sorry, I have to laugh at myself. We normally don't get those player cams or, our own cams on. But yeah, St. Clair was just on a roll when it came to scoring and figuring out how to score. They were also unstoppable on kickoffs. Like, I haven't seen a team so many times win kickoffs, consistently speaking. So the fact is they were just in complete control. And of course, that control maybe loosened in how fiercely they were playing and maybe fooling around a little more, or just in the fact that it's really hard to be consistent in even a best of 5, let alone as it is 3 games over a time. I think St. Clair is a really strong team. I do think they give a lot of creativity in their passing plays and their aerials. It's something that they really focus on pushing and forcing as much as possible. They don't go with what they're given. They do their best to create things on their own.
Yeah, Taco, if I remember correctly, was it St. Clair versus Northwood where Northwood got like 20,000 kickoff goals in a row?
It was indeed. Yeah, they started that game. They got 4, I think, and we cut to St. Clair. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, they got to be so tilted. And they're just like busted out laughing. They're all looking at each other like, this is so stupid. We even talked to Arju before his interview later on, and he was like, no, that was pure brain rot. He's like, that's how he defined it. He's like, that was just so stupid that we honestly couldn't even be tilted.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that was, it's good to know that they took that strategy and is actually running with it. Either way, St. Clair are not done yet. They have another match to play. This time, y'all, it's against the best team in CRL. It's against Winthrop, who are trying to get their first win in the second split. And St. Clair, this is a mountain to climb. This is Garrett G, Percy Ticarel. They had a incredible first split, and Navanta, they don't look like they want to stop.
Yeah, absolutely, and why should they, right? Talking about an attraction of a squad. When they are playing, everyone piles around the stream. They have just been the class of CRL, and with that comes a little bit of hateration and holleration in this dancery. Everyone wants to bring them down. St. Clair has a chance to do something really wild today. They have themselves put together, so I'm excited for this one.
I mean, I think what I like about this, Chicksa, is that to me right now, it feels like St. Clair is playing well. The problem is that Winthrop kind of, and Taco, we were talking about it briefly the other day, where it might be a bit of a worry, but Winthrop do have that energy where, like, it doesn't matter how well you're playing, they will always make you play worse. And I am worried, Chicksa, that St. Clair might be getting that treatment when they get into this.
Yeah, I don't want to say Winthrop's play is necessarily boring, but they're very fundamental based. They are consistent on how they play. They will put in the open goal, the easy passing play, while St. Clair is nearly the opposite. They do just about everything silly, everything in the air, everything crazy that they could to try to make a goal and make it that much more difficult for their opponent. Where I see things going wrong for St. Clair is that they, again, try to force too many of those aerial passing plays, the pre-jumps, that, Jazzy said in particular are his favorite. Well, that's fun and all, but pre-jumps don't necessarily always win you the game, especially if you do them excessively. So at this point, they need to be careful that they don't let their guard down, because Winthrop will easily take the easy goal, get in front of it, and make plays matter. But yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, I think the player cams and the vibes in the room are very different. It's more serious. It's still fun for Winthrop, don't get me wrong, but you're definitely getting a very different environment between these two.
Yeah, and then look at the contrast. It's like you got Shuffle dancing around on the St. Clair cam, and then on that cam is just down to business. It's just Garrett G down to business. And Taco, I'm scared. This to me screams like, yeah, I'm waking up on a Sunday just to do my job and smash literally RLCS level players.
I mean, that's ultimately really what Winthrop has been trying to do. I agree with Chicks 100% that when you watch Winthrop play, they're not necessarily going to be hitting crazy highlights, but they're so good at the tiny things. You notice, like, man, this other team can barely clear the ball. Well, yeah, because Winthrop has been stealing their boost every single second. They've been getting tiny little bumps. They're getting 50s that keep the ball going. going. They rotate deep, but they never rotate back far enough whether they're out of the play. Everything really clicks for them. So while I don't think that we're in a scenario where I feel like a lot of people in the Twitch chat are just like, what, Garrett G and Percy and Tikra, like, this is basically unfair. No, they're very susceptible. They can lose games. Obviously, we've seen that a decent amount. It's just that you need to play basically a flawless 5 minutes, and only so many teams, like really a handful in this entire continent, can actually muster that.
Yeah, in a season where it feels like almost every team is inconsistent in this league play because it's so strong, Winthrop are the exception. And with that, let's go to our analyst predictions. Chixa, where do you see this one going?
Well, I wouldn't say they're necessarily flawless in Winthrop. They did lose one series in League Split 1 to Northwood, but with that being said, I do think Winthrop is going to take this one very easily at that. I do think their consistency is just too hard to be beaten. They do have their bad days, and I don't think this is one of them. They look very calm, cool, and relaxed. That's how we got, when we did get a Garrett G interview, that's exactly how it felt. He's very humble to the point that he understands when they make mistakes, and they are very cool, calm, and collected when it comes to these series.
All right, Magnum PI, where's this one going?
Someone finally brings it back. But no, I would say on this one, I think this is the best we've seen St. Clair in a bit. I like how they seem like they got the vibes back. They understand what they need to do. And more importantly, they're playing their game again. They're hitting their mechanics. And they're going to need all that to beat Winthrop, which I don't think they're going to do. Because my logic with Winthrop is until they start losing games, I can't really vote against them. It doesn't really make sense to say, I think St. Clair's got it. Well, Winthrop has had it. And I think they continue it here.
I love how you guys are just gassing up St. Clair so much, and then it goes to Winthrop. All right,
Because
Navanta.
I can like both.
You can like both. Navanta, where do you see this going, bud?
I think it's going to be a lot closer than a lot of people are giving them credit for, but ultimately it's Winthrop's series to lose. I mean, they're just top to bottom so good on paper and in practice. We're not just making stuff up. So until someone really upset the apple cart, got to give them the dub.
And in my heart, right, and this was such a struggle because it's like, okay, do I use my brain, right, which of course Winthrop wins, or do I use my heart in the heart of the cards and really just go with St. Clair all the way? And I'm going to. It's going to be St. Clair for the win. They're going to be able to take it against Garrett, who world champions, who? No, I'm kidding. But no, I'm very happy, and I hope that with how St. Clair is playing right now, there is a chance. There is a chance. It's a small one, but there is a chance. And so with that, this is our prediction. I could have tried to also game it and go for like the curse, right? Just predict Winthrop, but then actually St. Clair wins because we sweep the desk. However, I didn't want to do that because I'm a man of my word. So it's going to be a 3 for Winthrop, 1 for St. Clair. Are St. Clair up to the task? We are about to find out. The match is ready. But for Winthrop, they are the dragon, and St. Clair are looking to take them down. It's the second match for St. Clair's doubleheader, the last match of the night. Let's get down to the pitch.
Oh man, I wish I had faith in St. Clair and myself. The Sep does in that squad, but here's a chance for them to really do something on the grand stage. This day won a split 2, and we're at our main event. No bounce in the booth with the smartest man of all, CRL, the Danger Taco.
You're gassing me up a lot, but also I want both of us to be able to gas up both these teams, because even though a lot of the desk is saying Winthrop is not to be denied, they have played so well, St. Clair is a spring champion. Winthrop was not in the environment there, but we had a lot of other incredibly strong teams that were honestly the favorites over St. Clair, and yet they were still able to pull it out. Last time they played, it was a 1-3 loss for St. Clair. They're hoping to do a little bit better this time around.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. Like, I really can't be understated about the idea of Garrett just being in CRL, because it's kind of been an attraction for people who may have been lapsed with the game, so you're definitely going to get yourself a top-tier contest, but St. Clair has all the tools, and we saw that just moments ago, to really do something really special here today.
And especially one thing I want everyone to pay attention to is St. Clair's boost totals. The thing I called out on the desk before is exactly what I think Winthrop is best at, probably better than anyone else's boost control. They make sure you look sloppy and really rough around the edges on defense, because you are basically forced to make save after save after save with basically 2 pads the only thing in your tank.
Oh man, I've been there. All it got's 14 in the dream, man. I totally understand where that's coming from, but resourcefulness is the name of the game. Something St. Clair has used and applied even just not last series, and let's see if they have that here. I've been Jazzy going back to what worked for them before. That wall crawling aspect, being able to distribute that ball is really being there all in the play early.
And And that is called taking your opportunities. Look inside the brutal fake on T-Corral, and he knows exactly what to do. Jazzy, go headhunt, I'll do the rest.
Oh my goodness, talking about having a tag team partner will do the dirt work, that's sturdy than I can imagine. It was definitely a critical boom, critical bust right there at the goal line.
Oh, and then at the kickoff, that's a design play. It failed against Oklahoma Christian, but that's exactly how you want to program it. Send the first player up, pivot a little bit to the left, and then the cheat-up man takes the kickoff, and it redirects directly into that player, almost into the goal. If that went in, that would have been a howler, but either way, St. Clair, they look energized right now. They're the ones really taking it to Winthrop. Look at them really forge forward and get all these different aggro kind of challenges coming through.
Well, they have to get that happen there, right? Like I said, you can't just wait to make a team like Winthrop make a mistake right in front of you and give you opportunities. You got to make your own. So those who do that can either just do the bump demo aggressiveness or find ways to score early, and St. Clair is doing both. It's now up to Winthrop to go back to work with them, but the fact they're being tested early is a good sign for the competition on the horizon.
Sai, he's got the reset. He's not going to use it. He'll tuck it underneath, and there's a second for St. Clair. The Saints are cruising.
Oh my gosh, that was the equivalent of the down low, too slow. What is this? Just slotting it in there when needed, and that scoreline is doubled with aplomb, my friend.
And you see the dead jump there at the end. Garrett is doing exactly what he should. He remains high. That takes away the flip reset. The problem is that you have to make a decision at some point. You can't always react, and that's exactly what Sai realizes. He waits till the last possible moment to use that dead jump, be able to flick it high and underneath, and ultimately, that is the bread and butter of what makes St. Clair so good. We mentioned, yeah, they like to have fun, they like to pre-jump each other, but they're all incredibly mechanical, and moments like that are when you get to show it off.
No matter how this series goes, I think any other team in this league right now should really take note of what St. Clair did in the first minute of this competition. Really established the pace, was the most aggressive, and is not afraid to go to the nose of somebody perceived as bigger and stronger as them. Really, fortune favors the bold, and that's how it's done.
Jazzy trying to grab that side boost, and he's going to pick it up where Arju left off. A perfect catch, going for a bump side, getting the lead for that pass, but no, he's not able to beat out Percy. Great instincts by Winthrop to get that away. Now it's T-Corral's turn for another 50 directly in front of goal, but no one there for the immediate follow.
It was a nice idea to put that on a pedestal to stop the ball movement, making sure everyone had to double back and buying them some critical time because boost was really scarce there. That is a heads-up play, and that's what makes Winthrop so good.
Sai with a hefty 50. T-Corral able to gather, but I don't know if he has much more than that. At least a heavy hit will produce something weird out of Arju. Pass down to Garrett, looking for a slot. Jazzy reads his mind and gets in the way. Flawless defense so far from St. Clair in terms of shutting down these angles.
Yeah, talk about being reads. I mean, Jazzy was there before the read even came across their mind. That's when you know your team is pretty much locked in. Now it's not even about winning the game for Winthrop. It's now being like, can we find a way to get past the defense, put something on the board? And as I say that, on the button, Garrett G's on the board.
And this is where you really have to find your angles. He knows Jazzy's going to be close, but the thing is, you don't just play for the first read, you go for the second. Make sure your wheels land on the ceiling, and then you can spike one down and have all the time in the world to make sure that's slotted. St. Clair, a rare misstep, but sometimes that's the risk you take, chasing down those plays with minimal boost.
Well, that's kind of the name of the game, right? We said that in our Dust predictions that Winthrop, like you said, you got to be flawless for the full 5 minutes. St. Clair had a momentary lapse, and it cost them. That's why we have insurance goals. They have some ground. Let's see if they can hold on to it the last moments here.
Sai got flat tired by T-Corral. He might have been able to whip that one around, but even still, didn't have much support. Garrett has a decent amount. He gets that steal. Jazzy's got a pre-jump in, and this time, that's a read he cannot make.
Oh man, look, you got the 2 goals up for St. Clair. You had to lock it down, and now with a blink of an eye, back to back, 2 goals unanswered, and we're level once more. I don't know about you there, Taco, but if I was St. Clair, I think, oh my goodness, hopefully there's no more goals coming against us.
Well, that's the biggest thing. I think the difficulty of playing the #1 team in split #1, a team as dominant as Winthrop, is not getting shook and making sure that you can take advantage. Arju was playing for a 50. There was barely any contact to be had. Garrett last-minute tap is just going to be a close one. That'll tuck it down on the far side. No dunk from Jazzy as he'll safely get that into the other side of the field, trying to switch the approach, but ultimately we are completely reset, and right now it seems like Winthrop didn't get that memo. They're taking the momentum and they're trying to run with it.
Got to give the 0 points, but actually it's very important medal over to Percy, being able to cover different routes of the ground and really making the defense go in other directions outside their normal rotation path, and that has just bought Winthrop some critical seconds on the run of play.
Ooh, the bump play on T. Corral means Arju has a chance to dust Garrett to that read. The lead is back in the clutch.
Going around the moon, getting the unfavorable bounce off the corner. A lot of things have to happen with happenstance and serendipity, but at the end of the day, it's skill, not luck. It's the goal. 3-2 St. Clair.
Really excellently done by St. Clair, making sure you get the just tiny little touches to get past that one defender. It's not about being able to completely dust everyone to a read to get that solo play. It's about incrementally building an attack. Exactly what T. Corral's trying to do. In fact, he does get past one, but Arju calls that bluff. He's going to dunk it through, and Sai will put one just to put a bow on game one.
Look, the game was already won, but that one was definitely a statement that says we're here to play. We found out what your plan B was, and we neutralized that one as well.
Now we have Winthrop in the situation they've been before. This would account to the equivalent of 1/5 of all the losses they took across all of split number 1 in games. So not saying much, but at the end of the day, this is a statement. St. Clair is trying to shout from the mountaintops. I don't really know about Ontario, how high the elevation is, but at least right now, the gameplay is at a peak.
Diabolical stat, 1/5. That's crazy.
I know.
Oh man, best of 5 tells you a little bit of the action is going to be fast. What we saw here was fantastic. We saw classic Winthrop. Again, they didn't play necessarily bad or whatever, but we saw St. Clair with the game plan and the momentum of being on stream as a moment before, using that to their advantage. They punched them in the nose. They have the one game advantage. Let's see if they have what it takes to hold on to, but so far it's impressive.
Yeah, right now I'm looking at our prod Discord. All I see is just Seb jumping up and down excitedly, seeing that St. Clair does get a victory. And it's hard fought because even when St. Clair had all that momentum, you see how quickly it can get wiped away. Winthrop gets 2 shots back to back, lightning quick, but then it was St. Clair past there, doing what we have talked about in previous series, Navanta, staying aggressive. Don't over-respect your opponents. You know they're good, but that's exactly why you don't want to give them space. Get right in there, pre-jump them, stay aggro, and you see what happens.
I'm so glad you used that word, over-respect. When I played football, that's what we tell it. Like, understanding it's about the competition spirit, but you hesitate and you give it's a little bit more space than you would anyone else because you think one person's stronger. You've already lost the mental battle, and that's linked with the physical battle. Take it to the house, 120%. I know it's day 1 the split, but you know what? Pretend it's the championships now, and it could be like you've been there before later on.
And what we're trying to see about most of these squads, how well can you replicate your gameplay? Because it's never really the same. Every game is a snowflake, so therefore we'll just see how gorgeous the gameplay can be from St. Clair in try number 2 to try to rack up another win, get on to match point against Winthrop. And my goodness, what a storyline that would create.
Every game is snowflake. I'm writing that down. This guy's correct. But you're absolutely right. You really can't say we did this before. We did this last week. We saw old rivals have different results. It's been crazy for a long time in CRFs because of the parry of shots thrown the line by Arju. But it's got to say, yeah, you got to think of everything as a first time.
So we will see an interesting beginning there. Tigger almost hitting a worldie going from the ceiling on the reset, but Arju, again, that respect shown. Yeah, I'm prepared for that shot, but we'll see how everything else works out. 0 boost, Sai still trying to chase down Percy. He will not be successful with a minimal boost. Not much he can do either.
Yeah, you know, you look at what you have around you. You don't want to put yourself in a position to really give away possession, or let's put yourself on the back foot. So sometimes you got to say, all right, I give up, I concede, I got to find a way to recalibrate.
Oh, wow, everybody flailing around right dead still. Winthrop almost as surprised as anybody. They're not getting on this one. Sai is being able to get the immediate follow through. So infield pass, T-Krell to Garrett, and another save. How quick can you transition? Jazzy looking upfield, the back pass cut away by Percy.
Oh man, I love the fact of doing something that's different, doing something out of the box, but it didn't work out for them. But we're seeing both teams step it up, especially going elevation when they need to.
Sai not able to get this one, and the 50 angle is not going to be found either. Arju into the corner. That's a rough one from Jazzy, but he just plays for the beat. Another one there. How about Sai? Do you have the angle? He's going to overhit it to the backside. Now here comes the transition.
And the transition is hard and it's fierce, and I do think like when you have a bit of a wolf pack, right? Everyone sees what they have to do. The positions up there, the opportunity to give yourself second and third scoring options, especially when the goals are hard to come by, is important. In fact, both teams are doing that, so they have ready each other's playbooks.
Percy will get dunked. Arju, nice soft touch, and I think he might have looked for the pass, but instead he went for the bump play instead. Doesn't work out, so here comes Percy. Drop down onto Garrett's head, but unfortunately there was also 3 other St. Clair bumpers around that area. Doesn't matter, Garrett's still lurking and going for an angle and a half. It's not in, the post says no twice.
You did everything you could, but past the net, that must be a critical mistake if there ever was one. You don't get too many opportunities like that. You have to convert when given the opportunity.
Sai, the only one with boost, is going to use it to maximal efficiency, gets the 50, and now everything resets. Percy, back wall, heavy deflection for T to try to rescue. Maybe a sidewall skim in his future, but not with that level of velocity. Jazz is going to have absolutely no problem as I think everyone just takes a deep breath and we all refocus.
Hey, refocus is definitely important because you have an idea of what you need to do. Everyone's going back and forth. It's ping-ponging everywhere, so it comes down to who's able to control the new pace of play moving forward.
Percy, no contact, a little bit low boost, but that's fine. He knows that there's not an immediate danger, but here comes Sai. He could be the danger. Drop down to Arju. Jazzy, open shot. He didn't have the build-up on momentum. Still pinballing around in the midfield. We have St. Clair trying to rescue the play, but ultimately they're still going to have to chase it. Deflection, Arju, back post, Tikarel, the backflip save.
Oh, that was almost impossible, right? They see like a whole mountain of Winthrop players just hanging out of the goal, making sure that that's going to be one that's going to convert. And so I understand if you're St. Clair, frustration setting in, but the last thing you want to do is get reckless with your possession.
Arju's got to turn on this one, and he's going to be a little bit late. Percy knew that one, so did T. That's why you're there immediately on that read. But now here comes the outlet pass over to Arju. Garrett, initial read, out of boost. T-Crawl, he's the only one with resources. Arju's headhunting. That might just find its way in. The last second save, but not for the follow.
Oh man, I had my head down to my scorecard saying that was going to be a save, but just like that, resiliency and sticking with the play, make sure that's a goal. We finally have our first goal of the game.
Arju became T-Crawl's hat right there. He just sat on top of that car and said, well, you can't jump off. You're going to just have to watch that go across your goal mouth. Excellently done by St. Clair, and they're not done yet. At least if Arju is any indication, off the ceiling, gets a dunk, and Sai with a follow-through will knock it back into the midfield again.
Look, I understand we always say a minute in Rocket League with a one-goal lead is not much of an advantage or a long time to maintain that lead, but St. Clair really has the opportunity here to put themselves in a favorable position to walk away with the series dub. All they have to do is keep their focus up.
And it's careful and stuff like this. You don't just want to rocket these clears as far away as possible. Notice how St. Clair is touching the reads softly into the corner, and even if it's not immediately clear, it's something they can still control. Speaking of Jazzy, that's control and a half. The air dribble pass one, the 50 pass another, and how about he just keeps on chugging and lets Arju take over.
Oh, we are running out of time there if you're Winthrop. What is going on here? But you got to make sure that you don't just hang back for too long because you don't have much rope.
Arju, excellent read, keeping that momentum, and now Sai, he's the one with all the boost and the control. T with the save, Arju, another follow-through. St. Clair, what is up?
You don't need to have a whole lot of goals. You need to have goals at critical times. 12 seconds ago, making sure that is happening. Oh my goodness me, Winthrop has to go back and think about what went wrong.
And right now, everything is going wrong for them. This potentially could be a series in which we have 3 players with blue tags and RLCS experience going down 0-2 against St. Clair, trying to start their split off right. This is a great step forward for their season, but you still got to close it out. This is an ideal way to start, though. Match point. Asai can't quite grab a highlight to end it.
Well, who saw this? I know I didn't there, Taco. Call me a wrong notebook because right now St. Clair is just one step ahead of walk away with a surprise dub.
And being able to see how well St. Clair is playing is one thing. And I really don't even want to say like, oh man, St. Clair's playing great. Winthrop, get it together. Winthrop is playing well. They're just being met with really solid defense from St. Clair. And the biggest thing for me is even when they do get boost starved, I told chat, watch out for that. That's going to be an X factor. And yet even when St. Clair has minimal boost, they're still making saves. Excellent positioning and making sure they're being opportunistic.
I think we kind of saw that in that last series too, because both teams had that boost starving strategy in play. And when they were able to implement that, they didn't have the control. So maybe it's practice, maybe it's having that on hand, maybe just being used to stream. I mean, we saw that implemented with a team that is quote unquote stronger, but it seemed to be even more effective his way around.
Yeah, and being able to actually see how well they can bring this together is one thing, but we've also seen the pattern for all of these games has been Orange team winning games 1 and 2, then Blue winning 3, and then Orange winning 4. Is that in the cards? I don't really know. I think we all kind of assumed this game would go the distance, but I mean, sometimes patterns emerge for a reason.
Oh, patterns are always a good thing, but I always love when things break. But you know what? Sometimes when things break like this, like us getting the prediction wrong, or at least I'm getting the prediction wrong, because right now I bet Seb is doing jumping jacks in the prod room. But the thing is, when you have those kind of breaking things, it puts everything with a new, fresh perspective. Wait, how is Winthrop stronger? Because if they are this strong, how is St. Clair finding a way to beat that? And that's kind of cool to watch.
So therefore, Winthrop, they not much talking in the player cams in between that. I think they kind of all understand we just need to execute better. How about this? Captain America going through the skies, but he can't start things off with a banger.
Hey, you know what? I don't know what it means to have to put that pressure on yourself. I haven't played at RLCS level, but I don't know if Garrett G is going to be the answer right now. I do think he would be the most scouted person. It has to be a team effort, but I do like some Captain America clothes, I can't lie.
That's got to be on target. I guess technically it was, though, bar save aside. That one wasn't going to trouble St. Clair too much. Arju, nice touch, and now he's got Percy on the back pedal. Flip reset, Jazzy into his bumper. Percy, well timed to get that one away.
Well, let me ask you a question there, Taco. If you're Winthrop right now, do you think they'll be pressing just to get a win on it? Because you don't want to get swept, right? Day 1 and but 2, right?
I don't think they're worried about their capacity to win. I think right now it's just frustrating that St. Clair is playing the way they like to. They're playing fast, they're going through challenges, and right now Winthrop isn't really getting the angles. I don't even mind the double commits right there. You just have to make sure you maintain boost and not give away anything easy. You have to make St. Clair earn every single play. And when you're getting scored on counters, it can feel a little bit like, all right, well, we just got way too aggressive, and that ultimately counts as a mistake.
Yeah, the mistakes are definitely not. What a shot there by Percy. Didn't think it was going to be inside at all. The sidebar was going to catch that one, but that's the first goal of the game.
Honestly, I thought Jazzy was going to tag him with the demo, so good job by Percy being able to put that one to the corner, then immediately sidestep it with a little bit of a break check. But still, even if you have a lead blocker, it does not mean anything in regard to actually scoring. Good job to put that top shelf to leave no doubt. If they had a cheat up, that well could have been number 2. Jazzy says, absolutely not. Let's just send that one away.
Yeah, that's super critical that everyone kind of put themselves in the position to make sure that would be a second one. But yeah, still one goal again. But as I say that, lead is no lead no more, Taco. What?
And I love this from Sai. Puts that one the sidewall and then realizes, hey, Tikarel, you're not half flipping back. I don't know if you have boost. You know what? Let's go for the ground pinch. Really well timed, but even harder to make sure you're angling that far enough away from that near side. Really good job, and it shows Winthrop there is 0 times where you can take your eye off the ball.
You know, we talk about the different ways of approaching the net, the different ways of creating a strategy. Bar down, that was knocked away. It was almost going to go another one, but yeah, pinch down is something that doesn't happen so often that statistically, I would say that most teams don't look for it, but it could be effective in certain situations like we just saw right there.
That's a lot of St. Clair aggression, which means Garrett, he's in a 1v1. Sai, brave challenge. Percy following through with a 50 attempt. Arju sidesteps it again, and now St. Clair slowing it down out of necessity. They got to regain some semblance of possession, or at least positioning, to be able to make sure they can get these clears, and Sai will guarantee that they do.
Yeah, possession has definitely been some of the untold situations about the games like this, but we understand about how long a team has the ball in hand, how long possession is actually working out for. It should be given a little bit of an advantage to St. Clair. Granted, 1-1 scoreline is not much of an advantage at all, but gotta give her credit for being able to slow down and play at the pace they would like.
Arju, one of the most consistent flip resetters we have in CRL, and that's saying something, is able to kickstart this first attack. Jazzy slows it down, and maybe that's not the approach. Sai also wants that one back, and now Tikarel on his horse, trying to facilitate Percy. Nice shot, better save. Garrett with a follow through, looking for that back post. Arju says, let me get another stat.
Well, I'm not sure what just happened there. It was like helter-skelter, kind of like pool shots and tag team friendship shots, but if that would have went in, I definitely would have made the highlight reel of the night. But I gotta say, when Winthrop goes wide, it does work for the advantage. That whole stacking on top of each other hasn't really worked out for them, and it's really a tactic that should be retired if not abandoned.
50, Garrett is not going to be able to get there first, but he will be able to get there on the deflection. That one will go down the line for Jazzy to catch. Another 50, Arju maybe trying to play around that 50 and has Jazzy waiting. Not a lot of boost, maybe doesn't need it. Fake underneath, deflection. There's a bump inside, open shot, and he will slot it.
This right here is such a big brain play. Understanding you're out of boost, but then still being a moving target to really box out anyone else and getting out the way for the shot on frame. It takes a lot of coordination, but when you understand and when you trust your teammates, good things can happen. Good goal.
And the biggest note to say is not just that St. Clair's getting opportunities, but they are executing. They're making sure they are picking their spot to perfection. But you say, Percy knows a little thing about that, timing that flip and beating that defender.
No, tit for tat, right? You work so hard to get something on the board and your opponent gets something back and it makes it level again. And talk about frustration, Taco. Ain't nothing more frustrating than that.
And you can see St. Clair be able to cheer, get a little hype, and then immediately have to take a deep breath and say, well, job's not done. I guess we're right back into the grind against T-Corel and co. Percy actually get a 50 straight back to Garrett, but I think wisely takes that 50 to the corner instead of going for the shot. Do not want a deflection going straight down the middle.
Yeah, sometimes you ask yourself, what do you got to do? But that usually comes in game 5, 7, or 9, I guess. But so early, it tells you how critical it is for these two teams to get a dub and do so in a way that they can take back to the VOD review on Monday and say, you can apply this to the rest of the league.
Musty into Sai and a deflection. Arju reading that one, and that's going to be too far for Jazzy, but wait a minute, how about this pinch? That's all the way across. Garrett doesn't have it! Arju does!
Wow, the backdoor slap shot, you didn't see that one coming. I mean, almost like a hockey thing. On the other side of the post, I thought it for sure would be another chance of rocking around and go right down the middle, but Arju is there, Arju is needed, Arju makes sure it goes in the net.
And that's why you use the psychology of high-level rotation against your opponent sometimes. You know that there's two players in the middle, but the last thing they expect is ricocheting one directly down the line. And you can see two players in Winthrop were not able to counter it. I don't think they're even going to be able to counter this one as Percy sends it high, but T-Corel's got nothing in the tank. So here comes St. Clair again. Waterfall, T, the pinch wisely to the side. Problem is you need a follow through, and look at that. He dusts him to get it.
Yeah, so the backboard defense was great, but it put it in the position where T had to do a long, broad clear to make sure that it was away from their net, but that means no one was going to follow up, and that was just basically giving possession away.
A little bit of a miss, but there's no danger into the corner. Trying to lock this one away. St. Clair, minimal boost. Jazzy, open net. The Saints are rolling.
Oh, is this sky falling? What is happening here? This right here is a goal you never would have saw a team like Winthrop could see just a week ago in that other split, but it's happening not once but twice already. This can be one of the biggest things we've seen today.
And the biggest thing we're also seeing is a mid-game pause, not because we want to give Winthrop a time to recover, but also because a player needs a little bit of a second. So lag or something going on with the controller, either way, we will see something going down here as Garrett G has just lost connection. So I think we got our answer there, but he will be back in the lobby. We'll be able to finish this game up with not much time to play. I mean, 2-goal lead with 17 seconds to go. St. Clair looks phenomenal throughout this. I'm so impressed with being able to see how they've been able to manage Winthrop as they've adjusted to St. Clair game by game.
Yeah, absolutely. And Garrett's a gamer, man. You're going to play all the games out there, so I'm sure it's a legit crashing here. But yeah, there's something we didn't see coming. Not so much of St. Clair not having it, but they were on 2 series back-to-back. There was a fatigue issue. It was Winthrop, W-I-N-Throp. We all get that. So it was kind of, you wouldn't be shamed for saying there would be a hard advantage for that side, but St. Clair had a plan, they executed, and they found a way to break down a team that should have walked away with the dub.
And now we don't really have to worry about too much else. It looks like we will have players kind of getting back in here and being able to see if they can indeed close this out. There's still some hope for Winthrop, but not much. The #1 team in split #1 will fall in dramatic fashion. St. Clair Saints take a bow. They are back, and they are in first.
You know what? I should ask Seb for a Canadian flag. They did that the most unorthodox way possible, but they did it in a way that it was no answer for. Congratulations for everyone. But this right here could be a critical week for anyone who studies tape or footage here in Rocket League.
And this is also just to say something where they say, well, you know, St. Clair came in warmed up, you know, the spirits were high, but this is also a squad that knows that they are among the very best in CRL talent, not only because they have a great amount of chemistry, as you can tell through interviews, through these player camps, but also their skill level. I mean, people talk so much about Winthrop having all this RLCS experience. Every single one of these players on St. Clair has made RLCS main event. They've gotten deep in the NA scene, in the EU scene. Heck, some of them are CRL world champions. There's so much of a competitive pedigree. So I'm not going to say it's just like surprising they can get a win. It's just in this fashion was not something that I had on the cards.
So from now on, your team has to be dancing in the background to give you that buff. I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
This chemistry works on and off the screen, and they showed it right there. I mean, St. Clair was loose, and they played loose, and they found a way to bend, not break, and they got themselves the dub.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up the dancing because ultimately that's what coaches should do. You have to point out what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, and when things are going right, can you tango? Those are the things that really decide whether or not a team is going to be successful. Shuffleverse, he's got the moves. St. Clair, I mean, they got the gameplay. Look at these highlights. I mean, they're just taking them apart despite with their best efforts.
A man said tango, but yeah, you're absolutely right. You called it 100%. The goals were definitely what St. Clair is used to and their bread and butter. They found a way to make their game work for them, giving the different situations. It's almost like understanding a new language, but still finding a way to have your accent come through. It's really cool to watch.
And being able to then just have that skill expression. I mean, we see why St. Clair's getting these goals, but they're just making sure they're right in Winthrop's face. Anytime they're given time, they're going for this kind of unorthodox approach, and I love that because it makes it, to use a term, a wild card. It kind of just throws a play at Winthrop where half the time you can see them kind of shaking their hands like, wait, hold on. I was not seeing that one coming, especially with that pinch across that Arju was able to slot in the back post. Plays like that are a bread and butter of St. Clair, and they throw it out at the weirdest times. It's no surprise this team won in spring, but they're trying to do it again in fall, trying to get it 2 straight semesters.
I do think that long series are one thing, and it's very important, but when you sweep or get swept, you can learn a lot about what you're doing right in broad strokes and what you're doing not so right in broad strokes. And I think St. Clair has a lot to be proud of.
Yeah, and with that said, I mean, we'll be able to actually talk with St. Clair in just a bit as we set up our interview. But for right now, we'll bring in the rest of the desk. I know one person in particular, probably pretty happy.
I would like an apology.
Apology?
I would like
I didn't say they're bad. I didn't say they were going to lose guaranteed. I say they're good.
Doubted them. You guys doubted them. You continue to doubt them, and then you clowned on me.
You did too.
Especially on the podcast. You guys clowned on me because I'm gassing them up. So, you know, all I'm saying,
you have both St. Clairs.
An apology is in order.
Okay.
Bro literally said in his brain the right choice is Winthrop, and he's acting like we're the one doubting. You're the one that said logically it should. You
never doubted yourself, man. Never doubted him.
Run the tape back.
Ever.
Replay operator, I need to see.
Either way, I will say that did save my prediction record for the day, and it made me recover from my Baylor predictions. So good on St. Clair, and frankly, I mean, this was probably, I think, the most we've seen Winthrop just feel, I don't want to use the word outclassed, but this was like Taco, this was a bit of a dismantling.
I would say the biggest thing that I would say about this game was it was the first time I felt like Winthrop was not controlling the narrative of the game. It felt like a lot of times it's like Winthrop just throws stuff at you and you respond. It's like you're playing ping pong and they keep spiking it. You're not really able to serve it back. You just have to survive. Whereas St. Clair found a way to get that and then be able to condense that and make a composite gameplay that actually was bringing it to Winthrop. And I don't think Winthrop has ever been in that scenario. Scrims, tournaments, CRL League play, and otherwise. So I don't know if they really knew how to handle that. That's given them probably a lot to think about going into their future games this week.
Yeah, I mean, Chick said that this kind of changes a bit of the narrative that we have, especially if this is the opening for the second split. If St. Clair is going up 2-0, they're beating the likes of Winthrop, which is very rare. That kind of blows the whole door wide open on the rest of the split.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that we're seeing a different, person at the top right now, or a different team at the top of the current split format. That's why there's 2 split. That's why there's so many opens. That's why there's the closed qualifier, and it gives teams an opportunity to redeem themselves. I think a lot of what this split 2 in particular was kind of showing us was redemption. That was the word. Teams like Concord in particular, who just didn't have the showing they wanted to and wanted that redemption, now have the opportunity. St. Clair, we've stated it so many times before, previous winners. Same thing with Concord. They have the opportunity for that redemption. They redeemed themselves here against Winthrop, who were the most controlled in split 1, but that's the matter of fact is it's no longer split 1. It's reality check time. We are in split 2. This is the one that matters most for our fall championship. You better play up to par, or else you being in the top 4 makes things significantly more difficult.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it. This is a road to the fall championship, and all bets are off. All results are off. Essentially, you got to fight for every single win. And Navanta, I mean, Winthrop, kind of where do they go from here? They took a pretty hard L for this one. What's next for them?
I mean, there's a lot of people that will sit there and say, look, we have the pressure of being one of the best teams in CRL. We have an 0-1 night the first day, but you got to go back to what worked with you. Go back to what brought you to the dance, right? Anyone can lose, or anyone can be on the wrong end of a series. Don't change anything too critically. But I will say this, if you get swept the way you did, that is something that's not working on maybe a chemistry side of things, or maybe just a time to hang out with your other players, sort of thing. So I would say go back to work with you. Don't make any drastic changes, but take stock in what you need to do to improve your chemistry to make sure you trust your teammates moving forward.
Well, I'm actually so jealous for this Chicksa, but we do, in fact, have our interview. It will be Arju. I don't know why I was thinking someone else. It's going to be Arju. Chicksa, take it away.
My goodness. Hello, Arju. I believe
Hi.
I've already interviewed you here before, but that's a good thing. That means you guys are winning because only the winners get the interview. Talk me through that series. You pulled off a stunner. I say stunner because you swept Winthrop, who was the #1 place in the league split one we have. What was the team like? I know you guys were all silly. You were dancing beforehand. Did you guys just really lock in, or what happened?
Yeah, I think start of the season was just like a rough start for us. Now we just talked about it. We found like the form again. I think this is how the league play is gonna look the second split, because we're playing really good. We're confident. I don't think anyone can beat us.
Wow. No one could beat you. I mean, I gotta say, Winthrop did not take a single game off of you guys.
Yep.
Is there anything that you prepared in particular for Winthrop, being that they were one of your losses in the particular split? Did you focus on, say, Garrett G or somebody else, or did you guys really just play your game?
No, we just play our game. Every time, like it's been even last semester, if we focus on playing good ourselves and we don't care about the opponents, we always win. So that's what we try to do every single time.
Amazing. So there's been a lot of talk today about where we should place you guys or place teams on the leaderboard. Is this your, ticket right now? Are you guys saying that you should be the #1 team right now, seated on everyone's rankings?
Yes, we should. We're getting too disrespected now. I want that #1 spot.
Incredible. So outlook the rest of the season right now. This was, of course, our first weekend. Is there any other teams that you're thinking about, afraid of? Ball State is the only new team to league split. What are your thoughts on them moving forward?
I mean, the Ball State's looking pretty good right now, but I don't know. I don't think we're gonna have too much problems with that. I think we're always gotta be obviously always gotta watch out for Northwood and West Virginia, but I think we're playing good right now, so we don't have to worry about anyone.
Amazing. Well, I'll leave the floor to you. Any trash talk? Because there's been a lot of it today, or any thanks you want to give, Arjo, all you?
No trash talk, but obviously, again, thanks to teammates, people watching, and our directors, Chris and Sean, for helping us this time as well. So shout out to them.
Amazing. Well, thank you, of course, St. Clair in general, for being here twice on stream today. You guys deserved it, and good luck the rest of your season.
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll see you in more interviews. St. Clair.
I'm so happy, dude. This is great. Now it's going to make my ranking particularly difficult, and I'm down for some very hard discussions. But I think this is such an interesting result to open up this split, Taco.
Yeah, and being able to watch Devontae's reactions as some of these games are not resulting in goals. We see funny stuff like that, like Archie just sitting on top of T-Corral. But ultimately, you can say, it looked a little scrappy. I mean, there wasn't too many ridiculous highlights, but it's just St. Clair playing really good ball. I mean, Winthrop just didn't have an answer at a certain point, and that's why I think this is kind of the first time we've ever seen Winthrop really nervy. I don't think they knew how to progress sometimes, and that's a really scary place to be in. But if any team was going to do it, why not the most recent semester champions we've had?
Yeah, and I think this is, probably the best thing we could say is that this is the closest form we've seen of St. Clair since that previous, semester that we had Navanta. This is probably the best we've seen them since they won that championship. Beforehand, we thought, okay, the level has gotten too high. It's going to be much more mixed. It's not going to be a dominant road, but I think we can emphatically say they are back.
talk about momentum all day today, and there's some teams on upward trajectories. You go, okay, when's the bomb going to fall out? When are they going to come back to earth? When is going to be the giant tripping over their own shoes? But this may be just a whole new gear for that squad, and I'm here for that. You see that cool, calm, and confidence? Like, yeah, we want the number one spot. And you need that mentality if you want to actually take it from a team like Winthrop. And they did today. So props to them.
I mean, Arju saying that nobody can beat us goes quite hard. Either way, I'm incredibly excited for what happens. And, I'm trying to keep it cool. I'm trying to put the bias aside right now. So, no, I'm just...
Are you, though?
No, I'm not. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the match schedule and how everything played out today, because we had 2 doubleheaders from 2 teams, and we almost got the 1-3 across the board. That would have been really cool, but it was a orange side win all the way through. We kicked things off with Concord and Baylor. Concord took that one. Ball State also took their opening match in CRL against Baylor 2. St. Clair take you down OK Christian, and then to cap off the night, St. Clair College taking a standing 3-0 against Winthrop. An absolute statement. What? What are you laughing at?
The emphasis is hilarious, is all.
This is one of the most important results we've probably seen for a while. Okay. So relax. Okay, give me a break.
No hate. I'll appreciate
Listen, I don't get to celebrate too often. So let's take a look at the league play standings, because we have matches that have been played for our opening week. And outside of St. Clair being number 1, Ball State, also Concord getting a win themselves, and then Baylor, unfortunately, starting off, Taco, with a solid 0-2. I'm not sure how I'm feeling about it at the moment.
Yeah, just like Chixo was mentioning earlier, like, this is split 2. You got to forget about split 1, but it doesn't help when you start and Baylor's still saying, man, we're still dropping series. Because at this point, that is now 8 straight series that they've dropped in CRL League play across 1 and 2. So this is where you really need to start figuring out, okay, it's one thing to not get your immediate wins, but split 2 is where everything ramps up, because you are playing for that fall championship. This is not just like, oh, well, let's figure out our form. Like, now the games don't necessarily matter. They always matter, but for right now, I mean, you fought your way back through close qualifiers. I mean, now it's the point where this is where you have to put in all the replay review, get in those scrims, make sure you are razor sharp, because at this point, we've seen with Concord, it can be hard once you start 0-2 in the hole to be able to dig your way out.
Yeah, I mean, we saw this last split as well, where, again, even though it is a league play, it is deceptively short, where you have a bad start and it can really follow you, especially when you get into, the latter half of the split, where individual matches really start to matter. So that is our standings for the opening week for split 2 of CRL. Exciting week to say the least. Incredible matches, incredible, I think, start, especially from the likes of Ball State, to be able to come in so thunderously after all the hype that we've put upon them, after all the opens, after the closed qualifier. Really cool to see Baylor, a lot of work to do. OKC, a lot of work to do. And St. Clair, they're on the road currently at the moment. But will it be consistent? That is the question. Any final thoughts, everyone? Devonta, starting with you.
Oh man, yeah. Then I got. If I'm anyone on that Winthrop squad, I am doing a screen grab of being in 7th place today and putting it on the wall and saying that will never happen again. I want to see how they bounce back, because you know what, you're on top of the mountain and you get challenged. It all comes down to how you recover. So I want to see how they do that. So other than that, man, I'm so glad to be here. Split 2, fantastic, and hopefully the competition takes up.
It's like the reverse, like Ted Lasso, where it's like instead of believe, they have like the
right.
7th place. No, I'm kidding. Taco, go for it.
I mean, the one thing I would always wait for is that result that upturns expectations, and I think that's what we got at the final one. Ball State obviously comes back in, shows that they belong this whole way, but then we also get St. Clair getting a victory, and you're saying, yeah, but can you do it against the... Oh, they can. Okay, well, then it turns out there's no favorites in any of these matchups, which I think makes the entertainment better, and for our lives as analysts, infinitely harder, because at this point, I don't even know how do we improve some of these prediction records. Although I'll take a 3-1, I guess, on today.
Yeah, honestly. Chixa, your prediction record is great, but any final thoughts?
I mean, 3-1. I think I'm leading still, just barely, but that doesn't mean much. Honestly, I enjoy that we are getting upsets, and this is a lot harder for us this season. I do think, like I said, League Split 2 is going to be very different than League Split 1. You don't have that extra life that you had in the extra chances that you did recently, and hopefully, you know, we see a lot from some of the other, not just the league play, but the 2v2s and stuff going on as well. I think we'll see a lot more collegiate action, and we'll see who else is making a name for themselves, not necessarily just in league play. So I'm excited for it all to kind of finalize in this fall semester.
And of course, speaking of more collegiate action, we also have the 2v2 Open. Now, the registration already closed for the first one, but we will be playing it this Wednesday, November 5th at 7 p.m. But you can still register if you're a college student, of course, for the second 2v2, which will be going off on November 12th. I'm really excited to see this because I think, you know, unlike RLCS, there are times in a lot of colleges where you have just two really, really strong players, and having a, you know, outlet for them to compete into, it might actually change up things. It might, you know, you might get a better perspective on what schools, you know, if it was just a 2v2, could actually really pop off. And I think we're going to see that this Wednesday. Very excited to see this. As for us, that is it for the night. Now, next week, we're going to be having a double header, which means we're going to be up Saturday and Sunday to bring you some of the best collegiate esports or Rocket League in the world, and it is going to be a banger. At the same time, still 1 p.m. Eastern, but Saturday and Sunday. Taco, I'm quite excited for that. I think this should be great. Back to back.
Yeah, it should be great. I mean, that's exactly how CRL should be. It should just be every single night on your TV, on your mobile phone, whatever. So yeah, ideally getting as much CRL action as possible. But it's also because we have to maybe cinch up the semester a little bit because, you know, we're running out of time. Students are doing midterms. They're ready up for finals a little bit. We got to get that in. So you guys get double the action, and the players get to have a whole weekend full of just sweating.
Yeah, we've all been to school. You really want that time to be able to study. So get all the CRL stuff out of the way. Really get the best you can of this league play before we move on to that inevitable fall championship. But for us, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. A huge thanks to production. Shout out to this lovely talent team who have done such good work today. And again, we love that you watch this. We love that you watch and appreciate and continue to care for CRL, because there's nothing else like it in the space. So thank you. Have a good one. Good night.
The way that you make me feel like I've never been felt before. Look in your eyes, I found the one I've been waiting for. I'm feeling electric. All love is electric. The way that you make me feel like I've never been felt before. I'm feeling electric. Look in your eyes, I found the one I've been waiting for. I'm feeling electric. The way that you make me feel like I've never been felt before. Look in your eyes, I found the one I've been waiting for. I'm feeling electric. All love is electric. The way that you make me feel like I've never been felt before. I'm feeling electric. Look in your eyes, I found the one I've been waiting for.
It's like
There's nothing like landing one of the hottest tables around at one of 10,000 Resi restaurants and getting up to $400 back annually. There's nothing like Platinum.
Thanks to T-Mobile, we get Netflix included, so we can all enjoy our favorite shows.
Re bien.
The best part is, when we switched, I got a new Samsung Galaxy phone on them.
Switch today and get a new Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus on us, all on the best network in the U.S.
Life's better when you're under our roof. Because we're as committed to protecting your dreams as you are to taking care of them.
Looking good.
Bundle home and auto and save up to 40%. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Whoa, it's the Capital One Bank guy.
That's me.
So, what do you do outside of the Capital One Cafe?
What do you mean? No fees on checking accounts and no overdraft fees help me sleep at night. What's in your wallet?
The Monopoly game at McDonald's is back with a chance to win prizes like this Jeep Grand Cherokee, a TV, this and this and this and these. There's even $1 million prize. Play in the McDonald's app and get your bag before someone else beats you to it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Baby, he don't talk sweet. He ain't got much to say. But he loves me, loves me, loves me. I know that he loves me anyway. 'Cause what he does so well. Makes me wanna yell. Let's hear it for the boy. Let's get it.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drip, yeah, I fit it up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
On game days, Samsung TVs are your gateway to glory because they go big while sweating every detail. And glare? Not in this house. Go big without the blur on the ultimate fan-worthy TVs.
The all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid.
What makes Keebler Fudge Stripes cookies so delicious? Oh, it's our treasured Keebler fudge. Great stripes! That's mouth-melting delicious. Keebler, magic is here.